Is he asking an 86-year-old woman to get a job? The comments are gonna get him, really. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, and if this is your first time here, hello, welcome. This is Essential Patience and I Am Patience. So as we can see, summer is in full bloom. I hope you're having a good summer. I'm so relaxed. While I have so much going on, there's so many things I have planned for the summer. I'm taking it one step at a time. This is the time for me to relax, enjoy, because school is around the corner. But hopefully your summer is going good as well. A few weeks ago, I posted a video reacting to a call for the Dave Ramsey show about a 73-year-old woman who had no retirement and she still had her student loan debt. That was, of course, a very sad call, and somehow I didn't think it could get worse, but I found one that actually might be. While I think both of these are bad, I think there's some good things about the previous call and there's some good things about this call. Either way, I would not like to be in any of these situations, but let's go on and listen to this call. Remember, this is not about the person. We're not trying to project anything about the person, the caller. It's so sad you're in this situation. My whole reason for reacting to these calls is to hopefully bring some realities to people, because as young folks, or whatever age that you are, always think we have time. We don't always plan decisions that we make in life that will go on to affect us so much more than we even think in the moment. Are there situations in life that we cannot control? Sure. But there are other situations that we can. So hopefully we're learning from these calls with the hopes of me giving you things that she did right, some things that she didn't, and what we can learn from this. I don't know if you know how much this affects me, because I wish everybody would have a great retirement. But the truth is, if you don't plan for your retirement, you're the only person responsible for it. So let's go ahead and listen to this call. It is a hard one.
I have a situation where I have a couple of options, but I really don't know what to do. I'm 86 years old. I have only Social Security. I own my own home. I own my car, but I have about almost $30,000 credit card debt.
Oh my goodness.
I know. I'm making minimum payments, but I'm only left with maybe $200 a month to eat, put gas in the car. Now, I do have help from a daughter and an ex-husband. Feeds me, as I need it if I make a suggestion, but
I just had to pause there. 86 years old. She has no retirement. Nothing. The good thing in this situation is that she did have a paid for house, so that is great. If she didn't have a paid for house, she would be in a really bad situation. The fact that she is retired and she is exclusively relying on Social Security, and with her Social Security amount of $1,200, I don't know if she just didn't work a lot or she didn't put in a lot of money into the system. I'm not sure. $1,200 seems a bit low for Social Security. I was hoping they would dig into it, but I don't think they do. Previous call we took about the other 73-year-old. She was expecting about $2,500. But at this age, to have nothing saved is really hard to hear. These are the times of our lives that we really have to plan for. The future us.
it's embarrassing and I don't want to. I think about selling the car. It's 17 years old. I won't buy another one. Pretty much going to be grounded.
What's the car worth?
Well, it's a Crown Victoria.
I don't think that's going to make a dent in your credit card debt. Yeah. I'd rather you keep the car to get around.
Yeah, true.
So she's relying on other people every single month. She said her daughter and her ex-husband, I'm guessing her daughter is probably older considering she's 86, and her ex-husband is probably older as well. So it looked like at least he saved something. Her car, great news is that it's paid off. So she doesn't really have a lot of other consumer debt except for this credit card, which is still actively building. The fact that she still has to rely on not just Social Security, but then her daughter, her ex-husband, and credit cards.
Or sell the house. That's what I want to know.
Oh boy.
And get an apartment.
Well, the problem is right now you have a fixed expense with this paid for house.
Right.
So if you sold it to pay off your credit card debt, that leaves you with an expense that's ongoing and increasing. And with your Social Security, I don't know that you're going to be able to afford the payment of the rent.
How much do you get every month?
Her situation is so sad. So at least she has a house that she could sell, but like they mentioned, the possibility of her getting a mortgage is very low. But I'm guessing if she did sell the house, she would go the route of buying a cheaper house, which will probably not be for the deal that she got on her actual house, but it is possible that she could move to a very low cost area and get a super cheap house. But my goodness, is that the situation you want to be at 86 years old? I pray that I'm never in such a situation at 86 years old where I'm considering selling my house, selling my car to pay off credit card debt and to make ends meet.
11,198,
Okay.
almost 1,000.
So about $1,200 a month.
Right, yeah.
And what are your monthly expenses right now? You're saying you have $100 left over, so you need about $1,100 to live, or $1,000?
No. The reason I'm in credit card debt is I always need about $200 more, and so I use the credit card, and then I'll start paying the minimum payments, and then the interest starts hitting on them, and the bill. Now, the last 2 or 3 months, I had almost $3,000 in car repair, and some other $700 to the dentist.
Yeah.
And so
you just have no cushion. You have no cushion to pay for anything.
So she did see a trend of her needing $200 to $300 per month extra. And I wonder how long she's known this. She could maybe cut down costs on other areas. I wish they had allowed her to talk about her monthly expense, because I would be very interested in that. I know that she'll probably have property taxes, some form of home insurance, maybe car insurance, probably will also have utilities. But even with all of that, I think there's still an opportunity to cut costs somewhere. I know she did get rid of the car. She may get very little money, but she'll probably also be saving on car insurance. Now, the bad news is that she'll have to find a different way of transportation. But at 86 years old, maybe that's worth it. But I do wish I'd known more into her finances and into her monthly expenses. Very rarely do people have optimal budgets where they're really cutting costs from everywhere. So I wish I had allowed her to explain, because sometimes people think, oh, this is a need, but is it a need? So that's probably where an opportunity to cut costs for her will be.
Thing that comes up beyond your $1,100 a month, right?
And unless I beg it from either a daughter or an ex.
So she has no emergency fund as well. And this is why emergency funds are so imperative to our financial future. If she had had an emergency fund, she would not have to rely on the credit cards as much, at least for the big payments for a while. And maybe she did, maybe she ran out. When you're younger, or when you are still building towards your retirement, towards your financial future, it is always important to have an emergency fund, because you never know what could come up. Like she said, car repairs and her dentist, as well as other things. And that's why an emergency fund is always important. Is that very relevant in her situation at the moment? Probably not, but for you out there, there's more that you can do. And an emergency fund is a great start.
I'm sorry.
Oh, goodness. I'm so sorry. Joan, this is not a fun place to be. What is your house worth?
195 to maybe 250. On either side, the houses have built around me, and they're worth 600 and 500,000.
Why is yours so low? No updates?
Is it in rough shape?
No, mine is just old. When I came here 21 years ago.
Oh, they built a bunch of new houses around you.
Yeah, they built everybody around me, and I don't have an HOA, and everybody else.
Are you at the point where you can move in with your daughter?
It should be a very, very last resort for her to sell her house. If she had a mortgage, she would have been in a rough situation. But it seems like she has this house that is in at least okay shape. I wonder what kind of shape it is in, because like they said, if it's in a pretty bad shape, it wouldn't go for that much. But houses are costing a lot these days, so she could probably even get more than she thinks. I wonder if she talked to a real estate agent, they'll probably be able to get her something in probably at 300s, more than she actually thinks, because housing prices have really gone up these days. Even if it's in a bad condition, people would want that house to do like a flip or fix it upper or develop it into their dream home. Is that a path she should go down? I don't think so either. She's in a really tough situation.
I have an HOA and everybody else.
Are you at the point where you can move in with your daughter?
Well, I could, but I'm not too sure about that. Personalities. I mean, this would be I have some health problems, but they're under control.
Well, the problem is, let's say if I snapped my fingers and got you out of credit card debt, you're going to be back in $30,000 of credit card debt because you're using the credit cards to float your life and expenses.
Well, I promised her that from now on I would ask her after if I have to charge something.
But you're still behind $200 a month, which you're using credit cards for, you told us.
So you've got your.
I know.
That's not going to change.
Did you hear what she said about she could move in with her daughter, but personalities? That took me back a little bit. What do you mean personalities? Ma'am, you are not in a good financial situation. Maybe it could be one of the situations, families always have problems. No family is really perfect. I mean, there could be some perfect families out there. You are 86 years old. You have $30,000 in credit card debt. You don't make enough money for your life. I don't even want to say lifestyle, just to float your life. I think if it's an ego thing, it's time for her to swallow her pride and move in with her daughter, because it didn't seem like the daughter was not willing to take her in, because she said I could. She didn't say that, she wouldn't let me. But maybe you disagree. You're nearing the end of your life. She could live another 20 years, who knows? But still, I would swallow my pride and just go live with your daughter. You just need a roof over your head. The $1,100 you get or $1,200 you get will go so much further in your daughter's house. You will always have food in the house. Maybe if you wanted to help her with her bills, you could do that, and you would still have the $200 plus $1,000 you get from the home sale. What about personality issues? You have money issues. I think that exceeds the personality issues here. You didn't say she was a bad person. She didn't say she was abusive. It just seems like maybe she doesn't agree with certain things of her daughter or have mother-daughter tension. Nothing that is out of the ordinary. Move in with your daughter if you have to.
Change anytime soon.
You've got your daughter, and do you have other kids, or is it just her?
Yes, but that wouldn't be possible.
Okay, so your daughter has said, Mom, let me know before you charge this credit card, tell me, and I'm going to try to help you out, basically, right?
Yes.
So, like you said, it's embarrassing and it's tough, but your options are you either reach out to your daughter and you say, hey, you told me that this lifeline is here, and the truth is, I need $200 every month in order to be able to live and not spend any more on this credit card. That $200 will help me make my minimum payments and not go over. If you said that to her, is she on board and to say, okay, I'm going to help you in that way? And then, because the other option is we might have to look at this house, which doesn't really make sense because of the cost of living today.
One of her kids is impossible, probably means they have no contact, or the other child is, well, he's an adult now, but her other child is probably like, no, you can't move in with me. And then the other one she has personality issues with. I think we're finding a common denominator somewhere here. And who knows, she might be a lovely woman. But if your daughter is like, you can move in with her, but you're talking about personality issues while your other child is like, nope, it's impossible for you to move in with. What are you hoping to have? What is your end goal? And this is why I always talk about the decisions we make in life and how they affect us. If you are having personality issues with your daughter, and it didn't sound like it was anything too drastic, and she's still willing to help you. It's not like she's cutting you off. She wants to help you. Am I missing something here? Is anybody else getting something else that I'm not getting? Because it looks like maybe she's the difficult one right there, and she's the one with the personality issues. And I know that's something harsh to say about an 86-year-old woman, but decisions over a long period of time is the reason why we are here.
There's not really an option.
I know.
Your expenses are $1,400 and you're bringing in $1,200. That's the truth at the end of the day, right? Because you're going $200 into debt on the credit cards.
Yes.
So we need to find a way to either lower our expenses somehow or increase our income.
Well,
I don't know we're going to find a way to increase income.
I wrote down every penny I spent this past month, and
could you downgrade it in-house? If you sold it for
I wish they would have let her finish that one, because I wanted to hear where the money is going. Because typically when I see people's finances and they act like they can't cut from anywhere else, typically they can. So I wish they had let her go over that. I know time is going, like they're on the radio, they have a limited amount of time, but I wish they would just slow down, get all the information, because I think it would be more helpful than just saying sell the house, increase your income, decrease. Like that's math right there, but we need to see her behavior. What is her behavior and financial patterns like?
50, could you go buy a place for $200?
I'm not sure in Florida right now. I mean,
Or even an
I mean,
apartment?
no, it's a house.
I'm saying, could you downgrade to an apartment?
Oh, well, I could go. Yeah, I mean, I could, but I'm 86 years old. I mean,
I know, but we also
really,
didn't set ourselves up for a bright future in retirement.
Oof, that's harsh. That's a bit harsh. I don't know if I like this tone. You know what this like? It's not what you say, it's how you say it. And I hope I've not been coming off like this. I think sometimes when you're dealing with so many people and excuses, at some point it's like, ma'am, how many options do you truly have? And that's why it's important to start saving early. The longer you wait, the less options you have. If she had saved a little bit at a time over her 80 plus years of life, more realistically, probably the last 66 years, she would have more now. I just don't know what she's looking for in this call because she can't live with her daughter. She can't sell her house. The car wouldn't bring in much. They don't have a magic wand. So I really wish we would have found out what she wanted. Like, what does she want? Can't really even file for bankruptcy because they don't take the house or whatever asset that she has. I understand George's sentiment, but it was a bit harsh. I'll be honest. It took me back a little bit. I would say it's more so his tone, but it is fact. It is fact that she is in a situation because she did not set herself up.
no.
So this is part of it, is we got to deal with the ramifications.
I was a single mother since I was 19 years old with no child support, and I worked until I was almost 80.
So the single mother, it sounds like she had an ex-husband too, so he must have come in somewhere. So she couldn't have been a single mother for all her life. Like she was married for only like a year. I'm confused on that. But another point she brought up of her being a single mother since she was 19, it sounds like she has 2 children. So she was 19, mostly in America. A lot of kids leave home at 18 or 21. Typically by 25, most kids are out of the house. Very few times would you see them live there that long. So she's been a single mother since she was 19. So let's say by 45 years old, she didn't have the children in the house. I don't know the age of the other kid. Between 45 and she worked till she was 80 years old. You never know what has gone into people's lives all that time, but she was able to save for a house, which was a good thing, and paid for a car. From 45 to 80 years old, that's a good 35 years. And I just wonder how she couldn't save anything in a 401k, Roth IRA, HSA, just regular brokerage account. I'm puzzled. In the end, this is why it's important to make good decisions. That's all I can say. And to start saving at a young age. She's made decisions that painted her into a corner very young in life. And you can't come out of there, but it takes a lot of decisions and a lot of sacrifice over a long period of time.
What were you doing for work?
I was maybe I better not say. I worked as a pharmacy technician.
Okay. Is there something you could...
Pharmacy technician. So it sounded like she was making a pretty good income, at least towards the end of her working years. I wonder why she didn't save. I'm pretty sure they had a 401k or an HSA or some sort of retirement.
You do to make a little bit of extra money right now? Are you able to get around and do that?
Oh yeah, I get around. I mean,
I think we might need to find a little part-time job to clean up this debt.
Is he asking an 86-year-old woman to get a job? Oh my, the comments are gonna get him.
Increase her income if you're able-bodied. It's not fun, but this might be your only option other than selling the house and downgrading to an apartment that you pay cash for, which allows you to clean up the credit card debt, lowering your monthly expenses.
Right. Well, I have leukemia. I've had it for 21 years. I really don't have a high energy level. And I have a dog. And the dog, I was going to tell you the expenses the dog cost. The dog was the biggest expense.
No, I bet. I know. I got 2 little French bulldogs, and they're the biggest line item in my budget right now. So, Joan, I'm so sorry.
It was $180 or $181 for the dog.
Every month?
No, just this month.
Okay.
Just this month? Oh, Joan, I'm so sorry. You have been through it. I would definitely look at downgrading a house and going to an apartment you pay cash for, getting rid of the credit card debt. If you need to rehome the dog, I'd rather you eat before the dog. So that's the hard truth. I hope it helps.
This is a hard call where I think the right answers are not that many. Our options are very limited. That's just the truth. Do I like the way the call went? No, but I think even in this video, some people will disagree with what I'm saying, especially from a different culture. I know in a lot of cultures, people do take care of their older relatives, but even in that culture, I would explain that because I come from a similar culture. Older folks typically rely on their younger folks to take care of them. It doesn't always go that way, but that's how it is a lot. Let me give you a scenario or what that often looks like. So in America, typically a lot of parents will take care of their kids till they're maybe 18 years old, some a little bit more. But even when you see with the college debt, a lot of parents do not pay for their kids' college. They don't pay for their kids' houses. They don't pay anything beyond the basic necessities after, say, the age of 18 or even 21. In a lot of countries where it's more communal, a lot of young people take care of their older folks. Parents are taking care of you all the way till you get married. Like, I've known situations where families are coming together, they're paying for somebody's medical school. You're paying for the person's first house. You know, as they're making money as a doctor, they're still paying a lot of the expenses, send them money all the way till they get married. And then when you have children, some family members come and stay with you, take care of your children, so you're not even paying high child costs. You don't have to put your kids in daycare. There's so much communal help, and then that help is reciprocated. But in America, parents typically take care of their kids till they're 18, again, maybe 21, some maybe longer, but very few. And so the kid is on their own, struggling at a very young adult age. They take on student loans, they take on other debts. They are buying their own first cars, they're buying their own first homes, they're not getting a down payment on a house. And because of that, they're taking care of themselves. So if you're parents and then you have a kid at, say, 30, and then by 55, your kid is out of the house, you probably will have to end up saving for your own retirement because that young adult is now struggling to make their own way in life. I'm not quick to judge children to say, oh, why are they taking care of their parents? They should move. But it's a whole different struggle than the struggles of other countries. So if you're not from America or a lot of Western countries and you see this as odd, this is why a lot of that is continuing. The value system is different. I like to call it the buy-in. So if your parents take care of you at the basic level to the age of 18 or 21, they don't pay for your college, they don't pay for any major thing in your life, they don't help you with a car down payment, it's like a little buy-in. So they might expect a little bit from you, but they've just done what would be called like a basic level of parenting and investing into you as their child. Now with the other types of cultures where it's more of a bigger buy-in, they're putting a lot of money and resources for years and years. Sometimes the person's like 30 years old and even more than that. They're making a huge impact, but it comes at a cost because then they will have more inputs into your life. They will have more say into your decisions. And sometimes who you marry, the number of kids you have, like it's crazy. So it's a whole different culture. So with her, I don't know how involved she was with her children, what level of buy-in she had with them. Now that shouldn't stop them from helping her, but there's a lot of things that goes along with family, and you can't truly judge somebody's life off of an 8-9 minute call, especially when you don't hear the other side. But it looks like the daughter is willing to help. Before I go into my full on analysis that I have for the end, I'm just gonna read some of the comments because I just know they're gonna be spicy. The first comment is George. The woman is 86 years old. No one is going to hire her. Duh, wake up, George. So a lot of people are going in on him, suggesting that an 86-year-old woman works. Now, I've heard of 86-year-old women actually working before. Sometimes they are working because they want to, not because they have to. And that's the whole thing about saving for retirement early. So that even when you're older and you want to work, you can stop at any time and still be okay. But having to work at 86 years old is horrible. The comment said that this is the worst advice ever. She will die on the Walmart floor. No reason to pay off food at 86. Rent a room out. We need Dave here. I think they meant the credit card. No need to pay off the credit card at 86 years old. Somebody also said, keep the dog. It's probably the only thing that brings the woman joy in her daily life. I think so too. I didn't like the idea of selling the dog, but sometimes dogs can be expensive. I hope she has some sort of pet insurance on the dog. It sounded like she did not. And I would advise that even though that would be an extra cost, it could be under $50 a month, but that would have saved her from spending $100 and something dollars plus per month. And as the dog gets older, it's going to need more maintenance and vet bill costs that may come along. So I think she could invest in pet insurance. I think most pet insurance is like under $30. Somebody says that these hosts are robots. She's 86. She can barely make a phone call. Well, she made the phone call, and at first she said she was moving around well. She didn't talk about having leukemia till much later in the call. There was barely a good answer in this situation. My only thing that I can see is finding out what her expenses are and making some decisions about the house and her living situation. I do think Jade was really thinking. George was giving a lot of facts, because when you deal with so many people and situations, this is probably not the first that he's seen this, so he's trying to throw anything at a wall and hope it sticks. She wasn't accepting a lot of stuff. She was like, no, this isn't gonna work, this is gonna work, I can't live with my daughter, I can't get rid of the dog, I can't get rid of the house, what can they do? So I don't think they're being robots. I think they're just thinking off their feet. Sometimes you don't always get it right. And I just think throughout the rest of the comment section, people are complaining about the fact that he asked an 86-year-old woman to get a job. Hey, I didn't agree with that either, but at the end of the day, she had very low income and high expenses. Not that high, but for her income. So I think he's just making a suggestion, because there's some 86-year-olds that are strong. He was just making a suggestion. He didn't know she had cancer till much later. So from this call, I had a few things that I wrote down, because I want to make sure that I'm hitting all the points that I wanted to make. So here's some things I thought was wrong with the call. The first thing is that she's not very receptive to a lot of suggestions, especially this suggestion about her moving in with her daughter. I think that would have been a great thing for her to do, but she just wasn't receptive to anything. I don't think the job was a good idea, but certainly I wish she would have just been more receptive to some of the suggestions. And of course, with the moving with her daughter thing, I think she should have swallowed her pride and just moved in for the last few years of her life. Again, she might even live another 2 decades. She'll be more comfortable living in with her daughter, especially if she has cancer. Hopefully her daughter will be there to help with her care. Another thing that I definitely saw wrong is that I think she had something in mind. I don't know, but the entire call, I kept having this feeling that she had some idea in mind. Maybe she was hoping they would suggest bankruptcy or some program to help clear the debt, but I think she has something in mind. She just didn't vocalize it. She's hoping that they validate some idea that she has without her vocalizing it, and I don't think she got it because she kept up with the excuses and different things. I just was hoping she would say something. That's why I wish they would have allowed her to lay her expenses and some ideas. I think she has something there. I hope I'm not the only one who got that. Let me know in the comment section if you got a similar perception, that she had an idea in mind, maybe something that she heard, and she was hoping they would bring it up and validate her idea, but they didn't. But let's give her props for something that she did right. At least she has a paid for house, she has a paid for car. That is amazing. And she doesn't have student loans, she doesn't have any other big debts except for this credit cards. Let's applaud her for that. That's what's really saving this situation. And evaluating the situation of a call, I do think asking an 86-year-old woman to get a job is quite ridiculous, but I do think that they were doing the best with the time that they had and the information that they had. George, I don't think that was a good idea. People definitely didn't like that in the comment section. So I did have some solutions. One being that I think she should stop paying off the credit card. Just stop paying it off. I mean, what are you going to do? Sue you for $30,000? Stop paying it off. Now, should she stop using it? Yeah. I think she should take on the daughter's offer to ask her daughter for the money before she spends anything on the credit card, because I think that would be very disingenuous for you to be using money that's not yours knowing you're not going to pay it off. I think if she stopped paying the minimum, she might have a little leeway in her budget. In the same token, I think that it would do her good to stop paying for food as much and start using her local food banks. The great thing about food in America is that there are a lot of organizations that could help her with that. So she wouldn't have to spend on food. She can end up spending on other items. So she said that she only had like $100, $200 at the end of the month for food, and she's behind $100 or $200. So if she just stopped paying for food or as much food, she can go to her local food bank, get some food, and that would offset it. So maybe instead of spending $200 on food, she could spend $50, maybe 100 pushing it, but she can get her main stuff from the food bank. I wish I knew her living expenses, but like I said, very few people have I met who had an optimal budget where they couldn't cut anything off. So I think she needs somebody, maybe her daughter, to go over her budget and look at things that she could cut out if she really wants to pay off the credit card for moral purposes or some other reason. She should have her daughter go over it so that they can get that taken care of. The dog, I think she might have to rehome the dog, but I'm thinking about the loneliness she might feel. So that's a solution, but I think there's so much she can do before having to rehome the dog. If she's going to keep the dog, she needs some sort of pet insurance to help with future costs because they're more likely not going to come up. So she may not have to rehome the dog, but if she does a food bank and she ends up reevaluating her budget, I think she can definitely keep the dog. But if not, and she has to spend an extra $200 a month on the dog in the future, it's just going to be very, very hard in the future. I definitely think that maybe even she could find a church. I don't know if she's part of a church community. She could babysit some children for a few hours out of her day. That level of human interaction would also help. But the easiest way she can probably earn money is if she got some roommates. College students, I don't know, but maybe she can find other people around her age who are in similar predicaments. Maybe they don't have a house, but instead they are renting, and she could rent them a room. That would be good for company. You know, of course, do the background check, make sure this is a good person. And that's why I don't think a young person would be that great. I think somebody her own age or maybe around like 50 plus would be great and would help her get a lot of income coming in. So let's say she rents a room for like $500. That would be so good and a blessing for a person who wouldn't have to pay $1,500 plus for rent, but then she also gets that $500 income. So now she can keep a very similar lifestyle. She can even pay off the credit card debt if she wants to, and she can keep the dog, still get pet insurance. So there's so many options over here. And I think that the host probably didn't think of it as quickly because it's an 8-minute call and it's on the radio. But this is a good solution. I also think that would be really good, especially if she already knows somebody, she has friends who are renting. In the same token, that could go the opposite way, where she sells her house and she rents a room in somebody else's house for about $500 a month. At that point, she'll have over $200,000 in the bank. And if her expenses stay very similar and maybe she's paying an extra $500 on rent, of course, she would have to pay the property taxes then, and a few of her costs will go down. If she's only spending $6,000 a year on rent, I think that would last her a very, very long time. But I think the safer option would be for her to rent a room to somebody. But this is another option. And of course, I would always say this, you can go do that in your daughter's house. Go live with her. If it's the personality issues is on your side, fix it, swallow your pride, your ego, and go live with your daughter. And she seems to be willing to help you. And I think that would be one of the best things for you to mend your relationship and to hopefully build a better relationship in the future. And to round this off, I'm just going to say what I'm doing and hopefully what you could be doing to make sure that you're not in this situation. Number one, start saving now. I think we always have this idea that we have time. Before you know it, you are going to be 86 years old too someday. Like, time already goes by fast. Please don't let it bypass you without you doing all that you can to save. I know she said she was a single mother since she was age of 19, but I don't think she was taking care of her kids all the way till she was 80 years old. So she still had the opportunities to save. Start saving now. Compound interest is on your side. The earlier you start saving, the little you save now will come in so handy in the future. Of course, always live below your means and keep a good relationship with the people around you. And if you are older and you don't think you have enough money to retire, start talking to your children now. It is so unfair to them for you to maybe think about using them as your retirement plan without telling them. We are in a situation where the cost of living is so high that people are barely able to take care of their own self and children, that added cost of taking care of a parent be so unfair to them. So start having that conversation. Be open. If you're in a situation where you're receiving money from, your daughter, your ex-husband, and other people, be open with your budget and be open to suggestions and different solutions that can be more helpful. Always plan for your future. So with that, I'm bringing this video to an end. I hope I didn't come off too harsh in this video. There's so many limited options for her. And the longer you wait, that's the same situation you're going to be in. Also, it was a short call and we don't give us so much information. I think there's something that she can do on her side. And there's certainly stuff that as society we should do to take care of our older folks. You know what they say, sometimes just decisions and sometimes it's life. Sometimes it's a combination of both, but you can't control what life brings your way, but you can definitely control how you react and your actions when times are good. I'm sure she had some good times in her life, and I'm sure she had some bad times just like everybody else. The best thing you can do is that in the good times, in the less stressful times, you may still have money issues, but the little you save here and there, that makes a big difference in the future. So let me know what you think in the comment section, but hopefully I gave some good solutions. If she ever sees this video, sorry for the situation that you're in. Hopefully you use this as an opportunity to talk to some younger folks about decisions, life, living, planning. These are situations that we can use as a learning experience. Talk to them, teach them something about the importance of saving for the future. And I think that your life and your legacy would go so much further in impacting, because they would definitely remember a situation of an 86-year-old woman who had nothing saved for retirement and is relying on Social Security. And at our age, we may not even have Social Security by the time we're 86 years old. Anyway, be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ring the notification bell so you do not miss out on any of my future videos. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.